Yo, BeBall Jones podcast is here one more time. This is episode 24, I believe. If it's not, oh well, you'll be okay. It's episode something like that. That's what I'm gonna call it. Episode something like that. Um, it's gonna be. I always say it's gonna be a good one because I wouldn't put out a bad one if I feel like it was bad. So I'm just gonna be another good one. Um, this episode we are gonna take off. I'm taking off my trainer slash coach hat. Justin's taking off his player hat, and we're gonna put on a GM hat today, and we are going to be reconstructing and somewhat rebuilding teams that we've selected to look into and get in about. So before getting into that, Nelson, you good, man?
Yeah, man, I'm good, bro. Finally finished my summer classes. Summer workouts is over. Got a couple weeks before the fall semester starts. So yeah, everything good, man. What about you?
Yeah, man. I'm good, bro. Things picking up for the business. I don't tell too many people too much stuff, but business is trending in the right direction, bro. I'm very excited about what's about to happen. So that's all I can say for right now, man. I'm just very excited about what's going on, man. Training wise, t-shirt brand wise, podcast wise, we had a good conversation about that, man. So uh, I'm excited, bro. I'm very happy about everything going on, man. So
It's good,
like,
bro.
God's been good, bro. So I'm excited, man.
For
So
sure.
let's get into this episode, brother. I'm excited about this. So just so we lay down the foundation, Nelson and I have decided to pick on three different teams. We are going to pick them apart, and basically, as a GM, we're deciding what decisions the team should make. We are going to be signing free agents, making trades, whatever to improve the team. Mine will probably be a little less realistic to an extent, just because I don't know contracts and salaries and all that stuff. I'm not Math wasn't my favorite subject in school. Um, my brother was the math guy. He was a genius with that. I didn't care. Like I stopped liking math in like second grade. So I probably got a second. Probably
Pretty
got a
early,
second.
my boy.
I don't know. I just wasn't blessed in math, man. But um, so yeah, I don't know the contracts and stuff, man. I just went with feel and pick. I knew some stuff was unrealistic. I ain't finna sit here and trade um, LeBron James for a rookie that just came in, unsigned rookie that's making 2 mil in 3 years. Like I'm not gonna do that. No disrespect to that rookie, but that's definitely unrealistic. So I'm trying to go for somewhat stuff that's idealistic. You've gone with the more likely and even next level realistic because you know the contracts and everything. So that's the difference in basically our roster construction and dealing and stuff. So it's pretty much it, man. You want to go first or let me start?
Yeah, I gonna get started first off.
All right, so first team selected for Nelson Haskin is
My first team that I'm gonna be starting out with out of my three is gotta go with Boston. All right. Now, uh Boston is a great team. Don't get me wrong. I love Boston, how they construct it. But my thing with them is I kind of feel like Boston is complacent, I guess is the word. I feel like this is one thing I've really noticed in the league. Let me say. In the last 8, 9, maybe years, the champions have not just been built through, uh not just been developed. The Warriors are really the only exception with Steph and Clay. But them are generational shooters, you know what I'm saying? Generational player, generational talents. And so, they drafted Steph, Clay, Draymond. They won their ring together. Then they lost the next year. Then the year after that, they get KD. So that's a one-time thing. The teams that have won rings in recent years have not just been, we drafted a guy, he loved us, he stayed, and we won. The only ones to do that was the Warriors, and then this year with Milwaukee and Giannis. But even that team had to make big trades and got Drew Holiday and PJ Tucker, who became huge parts of their team. So It's no longer about just, drafting and developing, is what I'm trying to say. And I feel like Boston is stuck in that in-between stage where they've drafted Jason Tatum, they drafted Jaylen Brown. They've kind of became their cornerstones, and they, just kind of riding them till the wheels fall off. So I think it's time to like shake it up in Boston. Not gonna lie. I think it's time to shake that up. Not saying they need to rebuild, obviously, not no. Like they stuck in that middle of the road, and that's a terrible place to be in the league. You need to be at the top or the bottom. That's it.
Yep.
If you're at the top, you compete for a championship. You're at the bottom, you get your draft picks. If you're in the middle, nothing's happening. You're gonna be in the middle till it's over.
Yep.
So this is what my proposed trade. I even put it in the trade machine to make sure it happens. You know what I'm talking about? You could just look it up, Google, NBA trade machine. It'll come up on the ESPN on ESPN.com. So y'all play along at home. You can put your ideas in the comments. Tell us what trades you think might work or what teams should do. It's pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie. Mm-hmm. So I think this is my own personal opinion. I feel like this might ruffle some feathers for the guys that hear this, but I'm going to attempt to trade Jaylen Brown for Bradley Beal for the Wizards. And I think this will work because the Wizards do seem to be trying to start over a little bit, go a little younger somewhat, because, as we all know now, as of yesterday, they traded Russell Westbrook to the Lakers for Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, and KCP, who are all relatively young players minus KCP. I think KCP is a little older, but Kuz and Montrez, those are young guys. And so I think after that, trading Brad is like probably the obvious next step to like fully rebuild. So I'm thinking it's possible for them to trade Brad and Jaylen Brown. And the money works if they throw in another like small role player, not making that much money. And then Washington probably wants some draft picks, which the Celtics do have because they haven't traded for people. So I just think they shake it up. And Brad and Jason Tatum are like homeboys. They both from St. Louis. They like real cool. You know what I'm saying? So I think Brad, JT, that's an even better duo than Jaylen Brown, JT. And they just got the big from OKC. I forgot his name.
Al Horford.
Al Horford. And they still have Robert Williams with the young guy, great defender, great defending big. I just think it works. So after doing that, they probably need to go get a facilitating point guard, like a good facilitator, like Rondo type player. Don't have to be Rondo, obviously, but like Rondo type player, somebody who can, facilitate the offense. Don't really need the ball in his hands too much. And I think they got a championship contender right there. So what you think about that one?
Interesting, because I also picked the Celtics. Because I know that's both our favorite teams, so it's not too surprising. People been talking about a JB trade. I'm against that for sure. I just like to see, because we haven't even really seen them like full superpower yet. Because every time they kind of get there, Jaylen Brown gets hurt. Okay, we get in there again, Tatum gets hurt. So we never really seen them full superpower to see how to develop. You know what I mean? So, and I've heard comparisons of like them being Vince Carter and T-Mac at some point. So I'm like, okay, when they're Toronto, because they cousins. So seeing how they could develop and come together would have been a nice thing to see, because they didn't play along together when they were in Toronto. So I think it was like 3 seasons maybe. But they had fun. They were two of the best players in that generation, especially on the wing position together. So it would have been fun to see. And the way that rosters are being constructed this day and age, it's only really 2 ways. If you look at all the championship teams, most of them are either built from having the point and big, or the guard and big combo, or the dominant wing combo. Luckily, we have the dominant wing combo. So now just having the right pieces to build around. And so, like you said, Danny Ainge has been very complacent, man. Like he hasn't shaken up enough to really make us get in the right direction. The last really big move he made was trading Kyrie for Kemba, which is technically a lateral step, And if you look at it now, it was basically a step back, just because Kemba never really produced like we needed him to. That's a tough one, man. I don't know if I'd trade Jaylen Brown for Bill. I know Jason Tatum would like that because, like you said, they boys. That's basically Brad Bill is basically Jason Tatum's big brother because, like you said, they both from St. Louis. They both got the same trainer. They train pretty much together every summer. That's a tough one to look at. But I have to deny that trade, from my personal perspective, from my personal one, selfishly. But my idea for the Celtics is very similar to yours, to where I was looking at more of the roster construction and how we're built and like what we were kind of lacking. So of course we have scoring with Tatum and Brown. Like that's the obvious, easy ones to look at. But outside of those two, we never really had anybody to facilitate. So I'm not saying we have to get necessarily a facilitating point guard, but out of the roster that we have right now, that'll be the best bet. Like we just made trades where we got Josh Richardson, which is a nice pickup. We just got Chris Dunn, which is a nice pickup. So what I was looking at is one, getting a facilitator and getting a defensive wing, which is what they went after with Josh Richardson. Another thing I looked at, we're pretty young. We don't have any real vets or any like vets that know how to win, to guide and help out Tatum and Brown. So I'm glad Al Horford came back. I feel like we still need one more vet, especially at the guard or wing position, to kind of push them. I was looking at the free agents, and I feel like we could sign Lonzo. I feel like that'd be a pretty decent pickup. He's a pretty tough player. He can shoot the ball a lot better now. Form's gotten better. He's going to push that ball and run with them. I feel like he'll be a solid pickup. And in defensive too, I feel like we were kind of missing that dog. Like we got too cute at one point, and we weren't playing as tough as we usually played. Like between us not having a vet like we needed and just playing soft in general, that's been killing us. So picking up a Lonzo will help out with the shooting just a little bit. He's a decent shooter now. He'll push the ball and get the ball moving around on the court. And I also look at Kent Bazemore. I feel like he's a good pickup. He won the ring with the Warriors. Solid vet. He can defend very well. He can shoot the ball. This one I feel like it's not gonna happen. But just being, a fan of him in his game, I like to see Spencer Dinwiddie in the Celtics uniform, signing him.
Like along with Jaylen Brown and Tatum?
He's really a pass first PG, but he can score if he needs to.
Don't know about that one, my brother.
I don't think it'll happen at all, but I think he's a big guard. He's like 6'5". He can defend. Not saying he's a great defender, but he can defend. And he brings a level of toughness that we've been missing too. And so with him being a pass first PG, he's gonna make sure both of them eat. Like I said before, we struggled when, like last year in the playoffs, Jaylen Brown went down. Who was scoring besides Tatum? Nobody. So Spencer Dinwiddie can easily pick up and say, all right, Tatum, you scoring 30, I'm scoring 30 right behind you. And he can go back to his role, Jaylen Brown's there, and he can score 15 or 20 if he needs to. So one of them will start slacking. All right, Jaylen Brown's off tonight. Spencer Dinwiddie can pick us up, and we're still having 60 from two players that night. So I feel like that would be a nice pick. And so I feel like he'll fit, man. And just for another veteran that I like is Ariza. He somebody who can come in and play minutes when need to in the playoffs, but we're not demanding on them all regular season. And he's a great pick to like add leadership to this group to help with Jaylen and Jason. So just think about that, man.
I don't know. I feel like that's too much ball dominance. You know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, they had Kimball, and Kimball used to be somewhat ball dominant. Like he was a scorer first guard, and like that didn't work out. Like they were good, but they can like get over the hump. So I just feel like they'll be in the same place. Like, we could debate later who's better, Spencer Dinwiddie or Kemba Walker, but I just don't see it. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's bad. Like, I don't think they'll be worse if they got him. Obviously, he's still a great player, but like, I just feel like they wouldn't go nowhere just adding him. Like, I feel like they'll be in the same boat.
I feel like with Kemba, he wasn't doing what he was supposed
It'll
to
be
do.
hard to guard. I know that.
Oh yeah. But I feel like Kemba wasn't who we signed for him to be or we traded for him to be. He wasn't that consistent option that we needed him to be. Like, honestly, I think he probably came in thinking he might have been like the second option, maybe. And I don't know if he was comfortable being that third option like he, should have been, like he was. That probably hurt him some, not even knowing how to play like that. I don't know. And then he got injured too, kind of messed him up. But Kemba was never really Kemba, consistently at least. He showed pockets of it. He was cardiac Kemba a couple times, but for the most part, he was never really Kemba. So that's why I think that whole experiment really failed. But I think Spencer would be a better pick, man. Now, who's the better player? I think Kemba's still a better player for right now. We got to see, but I don't know.
I don't know. I like I said, man, I feel like it's about time to shake it up in Boston. I think it's time to make a big move. Like the Kyrie thing kind of fell into their laps a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so other than that, they haven't made like big moves, you know what I'm saying? And like for them to be as good as they are with the pieces they have, I just think they have more than what it takes to do that, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I say the Jaylen Brown for Brad Beal trade would be the best options to me. And then I think they built good for what they have, but they lean so much on on JT and JB that I feel like nobody else can contribute. And Jason Tatum getting like 70 of a piece, like getting 70 between each other, and like they losing. So like I just feel like getting Brad, a proven star, averaged 30 in the league, averaging 30 plus, which is like tough. So I just feel like him and JT on the wings, you get you I was looking at free agency, you get you a Goran Dragic maybe, Dragic Lowry, still a free agent. Like you get you a guy like that, Patty Mills, still free agent, Lonzo Ball, like you said. You get you a guy like that, I think you rolling at that point. I think it's hard to stop. You got your bigs and Al Horford and Williams. So I don't know. That's just me though. That's just me. But either way, I feel like with yours, they'll still be where they are now. But mine, I think they could.
Man,
But
I feel like we'll be a step above, but I don't feel like that fills the needs that we're missing. Like you said, like I said before, we need a facilitator, of course. So we signed that guard, like you said, Alonzo, Patty Mills, whoever. But I think I really feel like this is me just shooting, and I just like Spencer. So one of my favorite. Well, I don't say favorite players, but player I really like the team. All right, I'm gonna try to, this is me being unrealistic here. That's me playing 2K real life stuff. That's basically what I'm doing. But realistically, I feel like we just need to figure out how to facilitate the ball a little bit better, because I'm talking about this later with the other teams I'm gonna talk about, but it's hard for you to win when like you said, you lean on your best two players. And neither of our best two players are that great at playmaking. We need somebody that can play make and get the other players involved, because we have a Peyton Pritchard who's a really good guard. We're trying to look at resigning Evan Fournier. We had Jabari Parker last year, Grant Williams. We got Al Horford coming back, who's a good playmaker, but I wouldn't rely on him for playmaking. And we just got Josh Richardson and Chris Dunn. So we need a playmaker to help me make sure these other guys are eating and make sure they're going too, because it's a lot easier to guard one or two players going off versus one player going off and two other shooters. So other part I can kind of speak about, we need a shooter for sure, because outside of the big two, who's a consistent knockdown shooter? Nobody. So that's why I feel like Kent Bazemore would have been a good pickup. He's a pretty solid shooter. Ariza would have been a good pickup because he's been known to be a solid shooter, kick and drive. Lonzo would be a good pickup because his shot has developed. So outside of those two, we still need to probably sign one more shooter. Like Evan Fournier can be a good guy, but he's been consistent because of his injuries, and he hasn't been playing on a solid team in years. So I'm telling how that'll go because he's not with us right now. Made it sound like he's dead. He's not dead. Just so people know.
I felt like that too, but I wasn't gonna say nothing.
He's not on the roster right now because we haven't signed him. But that was messed up. But yeah, Josh Richardson is a really good guy. He's 6'5", 6'6", I think. Really solid defender, good, capable shooter. So he's a good pickup. But I feel like if we can get another shooter and for sure another playmaker, that'll help us out big time. So, and honestly, I feel like we can trade Smart. I feel like the biggest shakeup we will probably do is trade Smart. At some point in time, either this offseason or at some point in the regular season, he will get traded. And it's hard for me to say. I really like Smart. I really enjoy what he brings to the game. Even though he has some J.R. Smith tendencies where he make a very dumb play and make a great play to make it up for it on the other end, but it might be time. He's probably a really good trade piece. This is last year the contract too, which is, screaming a trade. So I think if anybody gets traded, it'll probably be him. So it'll probably be a combo deal. Him and some other young guy, like a semi probably, to get traded for a piece that we need. So we'll see. We agree with that. They need a shake up. So we'll see how the trade goes, if they ever trade, and what they get for. So that's it, man. First team down. Who you got for your second team?
Second team, I gotta go. Well, I originally would have went with the Lakers, but the Lakers have kind of already made their moves. So I guess I'll just let that be what it is. There ain't no sense in talking about what they should do at this point. They already did it. But next I gotta go with the Sixers. Gotta talk about the Sixers. And obviously, gotta decide what we finna do with old Ben Simmons. Cause man, did he let them down and did they want to let him off? I saw several reports on social media talking about they finna get rid of Ben tonight. Like they trying to get rid of Ben, like Ben and hurt him or something. Like he got to go. So
Yeah.
I feel like the relationship between Ben Simmons and the Philadelphia 76ers, I feel like that's done. I feel like it's over with. So, and it was really kind of a struggle to kind of find a trade that would kind of fit because Ben is a very like unique player, like 6'10", like almost point guard, wing, slasher, facilitator, like very LeBron-esque, but not as skilled as LeBron. Doesn't have the shooting of LeBron, and nothing like that. So, it's kind of hard to like pick a team that would want Ben. I mean, as he is, especially coming off the playoffs run that he just had or the lack thereof. So, two things. Two trades came to mind. They could trade him to the Warriors and put him at the 3 with Steph and Clay. They could trade him for Andrew Wiggins and probably I saw one where they offered they asked for Andrew Wiggins and James Wiseman and then asked for a lot of picks and the Warriors declined that. But I would say trade him for Andrew Wiggins, probably try to get Kelly Oubre. But that's just me. Try to get between them two. Well, I mean, Andrew Wiggins got to come with the deal, but try to get Kelly Oubre in the deal also, another scorer, another shooter. And then if that doesn't work out, they don't take that. I would try. I would have to go Ben for CJ McCollum for the Portland Trail. Not gonna lie. I feel like it's gonna be tough. I feel like it's tough, but I feel like Ben and Dane can kind of work if Dame can. Dame is ball dominant, and obviously Ben is like he need the ball in his hand as facilitator. But I feel like Ben can one guard the best guard because Dame and CJ not out here like locking up. You know what I'm saying? Like Dame ain't no slouch on defense, but Ben he gonna guard your other best guard. He can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Dame shooting. You got a big in Nurkic, and then you got doggone now I can't remember the 3-man name.
Norman Powell.
Yeah, Norman Powell. I feel like with Ben in that lineup, Ben might like the offense is kind of hard to dictate because he's like you still want Dame obviously had the ball in his hand, but when Dame come out, Ben can run the offense and like I said, he guard your other best guard. Just be Dame, CJ, and the game. You know, because I feel like that's kind of similar to the Celtics. They lean on Dame and CJ, but more so Dame, because obviously Dame is the one that's got to get them 40 or 50. Dame the one that's got to hit their clutch buckets and whatnot. And but ain't no wrong with that on Dame part. But I feel like him and CJ being the only two like scorers there, and the two main guys, that's not gonna cut it. So I think adding Ben and trying to get shooters will be the play. Because adding Ben as defense and taking away CJ takes away offense. So I think they trade Ben and CJ. The money works. Probably ask for some draft picks if I'm Philly. CJ and Embiid, they play in Philly. And then you got Ben and Dame in Portland, along with Powell and Nurkic, who ain't no slouches on defense. Now you got a great defensive team along with Dame Lillard. And now you just need shooters or like maybe a couple bucket getters. You know what I'm saying? So I think it could work. It's going to be tough on the coaches. I ain't going to lie. I feel like the coaches are going to have the hardest time with that. Like on paper, I feel like it could work. But when they get on the actual court, it's going to be on their coach. So, but what did you think about that, brother?
It's actually real interesting because the Blazers is one of my teams that I want to talk about too. I also had the CJ for Ben Simmons trade, but we're going to keep it on Philly side. I feel like for the 76ers, that would make sense because we've obviously seen that the biggest reason why Joel and Ben don't work together is because Joel needs the floor space for him. And Ben Simmons occupies the same space that Joel and Embiid need to work with. Well, he's most efficient at, which is the post or around the goal. Ben Simmons doesn't have a mid-range. He doesn't have a real post game for real. And Joel can score everywhere, but 9 times out of 10, you want him in that high post or low post area. That's just the most effective way for him to work because he's so dominant down there. It doesn't make sense for him to be shooting threes all day. So I don't want to sound like Shaq or Chuck, but it's just you're 7'2", 7'1", 7'2". You're that big, that strong. You score so easily. Great footwork, great touch. Go in the paint, dominate. So if I'm Philly, I look at that trade for sure. I still feel like they'll probably somebody's gonna throw another player, one way or another. It's gonna be I don't think it's gonna be a head up trade for player for player. It will be some other player getting thrown in or a couple of draft picks, whatever. It might be a 3-team trade and somebody's gonna throw in from there, but I like that trade for Philly. I feel like that gives them a great scorer, a great shooter. One problem they had, who they played in the playoffs? They played y'all, right? They played the Bucks.
Philly?
Yeah.
They play Atlanta. They lost to Atlanta.
That's what got put out about. So they couldn't get a bucket for nothing. Like they were struggling. Like Tobias Harris disappeared. Of course, Ben couldn't score. And then Joel Embiid. I've never seen a 7-footer besides Dirk, like, be able to win games, like, consistently. Tim Duncan could, but he wasn't doing it consistently because he had Manu and Tony. With KG, he had Sam Cassell winning games for him in Minnesota. And Dirk's probably the only big that I've ever seen be able to, like, legit win his team games. And so that being said, I don't see Joel Embiid being the guy to close the game out for him. And he showed that he wasn't. So I feel like CJ will be able to take over that role and he'll dominate that. Pick and roll between him and Joel Embiid will be nasty. He can score on the ball and off the ball. So Tobias Harris cooking, he ain't got to worry about CJ because he getting cooked, you double team. Oh, I'm going to just kick it over to CJ buckets. So I feel like that works well for them. And yeah, I think that's a good look. And then on the other side of the floor, defensively, it will hurt them a little bit because they lose some of that size and length that they just had. Because, like I said, Ben Simmons 6'10". Like one thing I did love about Philly, they were huge.
Oh yeah.
You had Ben Simmons 6'10", Danny Green about 6'5", 6'6". You had Tobias Harris, who's like 6'9". You had who was else started for them? Joel Embiid 7'2", 7'1". Who was started? 1, 2, 3, 4. Who was started for Philly?
It was Ben Simmons, Seth Curry. Oh wait, Danny Green. I mean,
I said Danny. So Seth was the starter.
Well, it might have been Tobias, Joel Embiid. Does that sound right to you?
Because Seth was on and off. Sometimes he started, sometimes he didn't start.
Was it Maxey? Tyrese Maxey?
Nah, he came off the bench usually.
Oh, well,
I don't know. Those four were consistent for it. It was always Danny Green, Tobias Harris, Ben, and Joel. Those are consistent four. Right. So that's huge lineup. Bro. You're going the shortest guy on your team in starting five right there is 6'5". I think the next guy was usually about 6'3", 6'4". And that's a huge lineup to have. Like, because I like lineups like that are big guys. They're long, athletic, they're everywhere. So you lose a little bit of that because you're going down to CJ, who is 6'2", 6'3". He's a bucket. He's gonna make up for it. So you might score on me. I'm putting 30 on you, and they're gonna have a consistent guy now. And I think that'll be good for CJ to finally spread his rings a little bit and show what he can do, get a little bit more shine and recognition. And going to the East Coast, he'll get a better look to get an All-Star nod too, because he had a year or two where he could have been an All-Star, but for one, you're in the West, and two, you're in the West playing behind Damian Lillard. So if anybody from the Blazers are getting that nod, it's going to be Dame. So it's just tough for him to really get the shine and love that he could have been getting. So somewhat happy for him on that end. So I feel like Philly would definitely benefit. I think that makes them a lot bigger threat to win because like on the offensive end, they spread the floor too. So CJ's not no slouch on the offensive end, like shooting. So that would be a real nice pick for Philly. So yeah, now I'm gonna get to the other half of Blazers. I'm just kind of get into my spiel. So initially, I never wanted CJ get traded. I was always against that. I always wanted to see them make it work. But like I said before, looking at the history of the NBA and seeing how roster constructions have won and lost, the only guard dominant duo to win has been the Bad Boys Pistons with Isaiah and Joe Dumars. Ever since then, we've never seen a two-guard lead or a two guards lead win. We've never had that. The closest next thing we probably would have
Steph and Clay.
I was going to say Steph and Clay. But the only reason I say that's different is because Clay wasn't that guy. You know what I mean? Like Clay is technically more of a role player. It's mainly Steph.
Ball dominant.
Yeah, ball dominant. I'll say that. He was mainly off ball. So it's like that operated a lot better together versus Joe and Zeke. Those two were just like tit for tat, bro. You scoring? I'm scoring too. Bop, bop, bop. Got you. Bop, bop, bop. Got you. Joe come in with bully balls. You know, Joe was strong. So Joe's going through lane, powering over everybody. So that's the reason I wouldn't throw those two in there. Because it's basically a one guard and a two guard, on ball, point guard, and off ball shooting guard. That's the only difference I'd probably say with that. But then the way they're built, like the Blazers have been going back and forth between offensive team and defensive team, offensive team, defensive team, because they had a couple years where they had strictly defense. So it'd be Dame and CJ offense, and then the rest of the team would be defensive guys. And it'd be mainly Dame and CJ and surrounded with shooters. So they went back and forth for that for years. So I feel like they never really, for whatever reason, they never really sat down and said, let's make a blend of it and have a couple of shooters some good defensive players overall. Because Damon CJ, like you said before, they're not the best lockdown defenders to have out there. They're not just locking up their position at all. And so defensively, they need help for sure. And offensively, they need help for sure just because they can't keep relying on Dame and CJ to put up 60 together or 70 together every night. So I looked at the stats, man. They were last in assists. They were last in turnovers, 25th in steals, and 23rd in field goal percentage. You are not going to win a championship with those numbers at all. That's really, I doubt any team is winning a championship being like the bottom third in assists and turnovers. So basically what that's telling me is they're not getting any ball movement and they're not getting good shots off, obviously. They're taking bad shots. The defense is terrible because they're not getting any steals. So I'm giving the ball away. I'm not getting good shots and I'm not taking care of the ball. And I'm not getting the ball back because I'm not getting steals. So trading CJ for Ben would be a big help for that. And that would help the defense out for sure. He will give them some more assists because he's a better playmaker. Dame does average like 7.5 assists, but he's not a playmaker like that. We don't see him as like real facilitator. So I think that trade would really work. I think they would probably end up giving somebody like a Nazir Little or Derrick Jones Jr. away too, just to kind of, like I said before, throw a little extra piece in there. But I feel like that would be the best trade for both sides of it. And I think the Blazers will really benefit for that. I looked at other little players too they could sign or trade for. I feel like DeRozan, they could sign DeRozan. That could be a decent little pickup for them.
DeRozan, are you talking about after the trade?
Just in general.
You think?
Oh, I forgot to say the other halves of it. So I was thinking if they don't trade for CJ, the next best bet would be to put CJ on the bench. Because you like I said before, neither of them are defensive players. So you need to get somebody else that can play defense to help them out because that defense is terrible up front. So I'm just trying to figure. I'm gonna manipulate to where I can score off of one or the two. So in order to help that out, CJ got to be my sixth man with Melo, and I bring somebody else in to help guard on that guard position. So that's where DeRozan came in. I'm not sure how his defense is now. He used to be pretty solid back in the day. I haven't kept up with him that much. He played in San Antonio, but that would be a decent pickup for him. Possibly making a move for Eric Gordon. I heard he was available for either trade or whatever. Golden State, looking at Golden State and possibly doing a sign and trade for Kelly Oubre. He would probably be a nice pickup for him. And Paul Millsap was available. He's a solid player. He's a very, 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 very good team defender. So you can have that rolling for you. And that would definitely help out the defense for sure. And that would be a smart pickup because off of that, that's not going to take away from CJ either. Like none of those guys, maybe DeRozan, he probably hurt CJ a little bit, but it's not going to be too much to where they still can't work. So CJ come off the bench and get Dame. Okay, cool. Now I can still go on ball, off ball because DeRozan can still score. Eric Gordon can still score. Millsap can still score. Kelly Oubre can still score. And they're going to defend for you now. And you can have all three in at the same time. So something like that. I'm not saying it's a perfect pickup. I didn't want to sit here and break it down in the trade machine and do numbers and stuff. But I feel like that could be decent pickups for that team and it can still work. So let me see how you feel about that, man. I know it's not the most ideal, it's not a perfect, clean pick, but just ideas kind of I thought of out there. So I want to see how you feel about that.
Okay. I was glad you rephrased and said that you moved CJ to the bench when they said about DeRozan because I was like, dang, CJ and DeRozan, they both one ball, but I don't know that the moving CJ to the bench is interesting, but I feel like CJ got the tenure, in a way, like he been there, drafted there, he got fans there, he solidified. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be hard to like bring somebody in and say, all right, CJ, we need you to transition to the bench. I feel like that's kind of tough to ask of somebody who been there for somebody who just now coming. This ain't like Kyle Kuzma we talking about where, you know, we bring in AD and it's like, oh, well, of course I'm coming off the bench. This like CJ's, you know, not, you know, obviously, you know, it's perennial all-star and nothing, but like he proved himself. He's proven that he can hoop. You know, he deserved to be here, deserved to be in the position that he in. So just bring somebody like a DeRozan in and just saying, all right, we finna have to move you to the bench. I feel like that's kind of tough. So, but I'm glad we agree on the Ben and CJ trade. I think it can work out for both teams. I feel like Philly kind of wins the trade in a way because I feel like CJ and MB could be like a great duo if they, you know, it gives for a while, but like not being next to Dame, who is clearly like, you know, top 5 guard in the league, top 3-point guard in the league. I don't know, you know, how you want to say it, but I say it's pretty obvious he top 3-point guard.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and CJ ain't top 5 shooting guards. So not being next to Dame will probably give him opportunity to be that 24, 25 points per game scorer that I feel like he can be. And then, you know, alongside Embiid, you know, then Tobias Harris, Danny Green, a lot of spacing for Embiid. I also thought about the Ben for Bradley Beal trade, but I feel like the Wizards have no reason to. We talked about this a little bit off air, but the Wizards have no reason to trade for Ben and just to have Ben because the Sixers seem like they're trying to also get draft picks out of people and stuff. But if the Wizards gonna trade Brad, it's gonna be for something for the future. So unless they see Ben being a part of their future, didn't make sense for them to trade Bradley Beal for Ben Simmons. So that's why I went with the Ben CJ trade. So, but with Ben and Dame, you gain a lot of defense. With Dame, take care of your offense. You just give Dame another bucket, like not a CJ McCollum type bucket. Somebody like they still got Carmelo Anthony. They can re-sign Melo. But I like they don't still have Carmelo. They can still re-sign Carmelo Anthony. And you know, there's other guys in the free agency who could be, you know, key pieces for them. So I feel like they add a little bit more scoring on the wings. They got 2 good bigs and Enes Kanter and Nurkic that can play great defense. I just think that's the way that I think that can be figured out. Let's say that that's something like it ain't gonna be perfect out the gate, but like with some tinkering and some coaching, I feel like it can be figured out.
Yeah, I feel like in my heart, I still want CJ to be on that team and come off the bench.
Yeah, I feel the same way. That it would be kind of hurtful to be like, dang, CJ and D. It's kind of like Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan when they traded him for Kawhi Leonard. It was like, dang, they ain't gonna be teammates no more.
Yeah,
but it might just be necessary. But go ahead.
Yeah, like I said, in my heart, I want them to stay together, but I'd much rather see Dame win that ring than to be with his friend and, you know, partner for life. You know what I mean? Like, I'd much rather him get that ring, you know. So we'll see what Chauncey does, man. I feel like Norman Powell's no slouch on the offensive defensive end. That's why they signed him. He's a solid player. But we'll see because they still need, like you said, some more firepower. That bench isn't nearly enough right now. They got Anthony Simmons. They have Najee Little, possibly Derrick Jones Jr., Melo, Cancer. You have to look at resigning Zach Collins. I like him. He has a solid game. Stick out Robert Covington. We'll see if he starts. He'll come off the bench with the roster shakeup they might have. But I feel like even if it's not DeRozan, they need to find another guard to come in or a wing to come in and help with that defense, like a two-way player that can help out because I'm not just benching CJ for some Patrick Beverly. Like I'm not doing that. Like that's disrespectful at that point. But I feel like if CJ would, you know, be cool with taking that, you know, Manu Ginobili role where you might not start, but you're more likely to close the game with us. We're gonna have, you know, Dame, CJ, whatever person we bring in to facilitate that, you know, defensive life, you know, help out right there. Melo, and Nurkic. That's a pretty decent team, you know. Defensively, not great, but I feel like they can go. So we'll see, man. It's not a perfect lineup. I think the more realistic move will be trading him for Ben and getting more shooters and scorers around him. So we'll see, man. We'll see. I think the Blazers have a lot on their plate. See what Chauncey Billups, Mr. Big Shot, comes up with for his team. So
I almost forgot he was the coach now.
yeah, I'm excited about that. I want to see how he do. So we'll see, man, because the Blazers statistically looking terrible, man. Can't be last in assists and last in turnovers. 25th in steals and 23rd in field goal. You're not winning basketball doing that. So we'll see a move to make because they got to have something. Because they ain't knocking on their door trying to get out. So we'll see how that goes, man. So let's get into your last team, man. Let's run this thing up.
All right, my last team will be the Dallas Mavericks. All right, and unlike the other teams, I don't think there's a big trade that can be made to improve Dallas. Like, you know, they got I know some people probably expect me to be like, all right, they need to trade Porzingis, but they really don't. They really don't. I know they said Porzingis wasn't very happy with his role. There was some reports that he wasn't very happy with his role in the playoffs. Felt like he was treated more as a role player than a co-star to Luka Doncic, which I can kind of understand, but at the same time, I feel like watching the games, I watched most of that last series they had with the Clippers. I feel like most of the time, like when he got the ball in his spots, he wasn't converting, And I feel like it was one of those situations like with Luka, just like that Kobe situation. Like, I just trust myself more than you type stuff. And Luka still facilitated because, he averaged almost a triple-double, but I feel like not Luke. I feel like Porzingis probably wanted a little more ISO ball play, like hit me in my spots, hit me on the wing, or not the wing, but hit me on the high post, hit me on the mid post, whatever, and let me just kind of work out. I feel like he wanted more of that, and he didn't get it. But some moves I think the Mavericks could do to help them. I feel like I like the Mavericks team. I can't lie. I like the Mavericks team. I like Luka. I love Tim Hardaway Jr. Porzingis is still good. I love Marjanovic. I just like something about Marjanovic. I like his personality and stuff. A big Boban. Like, I feel like they built well, just not with a strong enough coach and Porzingis. But this is what I think they can do to improve their team. I feel they should go all out for either Andre Drummond or Dwight Howard, who are both free agents. So now I feel like the Lakers probably gonna try to re-sign Andre Drummond because he shows some signs of good stuff later on in the year, near the end of the season. But I like Dwight Howard to go to that team. He can play big, guard the other defending big. Because, Boban is good for what you need him to do, but Boban is slow, not athletic, not going to run the floor for you, not going to guard in the pick and roll. When you can have somebody like Dwight Howard who can do all of that, athletic, run, guard, he going to block shots for you, all that. And so I feel like Andre Drummond, Dwight Howard are the moves to go for them, to go all out for them. I'm not saying offer them the max or nothing by any means, but offer them good money. Like, they'll be key pieces for you. Also, I feel like they should try to re-sign JJ Redick because JJ Redick didn't want to come to Dallas in the first place. He wanted to be traded closer to New York, where his family's from or where they like to be. So that might be unlikely. But if they can't do that, I feel like Dwight Howard, Andre Drummond, try to probably go get you an Andre Iguodala, who's also a free agent. You get him to guard, play some defense for you because they don't have a whole lot of defense. The Mavericks out here scoring 130 and their opponent scoring 135. So go get you Andre Iguodala. Try to offer him some good money. Let him play a defense for you. So now let's just say JJ Redick walked, which is probably looking like what's going to happen. You go get those two that I named. Let's just say if they get Dwight Howard, sign Andre Drummond, resign Andre Drummond too. You go Luka Doncic, Tim Hardaway Jr., Andre Iguodala, Kristaps Porzingis, Dwight Howard. That's tough, right? Like I feel like you got Luka that can, give you what you want. You got Porzingis that can give you what you want on the offensive end. You got Dwight to defend your other big. You got Andre to guard your other guard, your best guard. So now I ain't got to hope Luka because I feel like people picked on Luka. People was talking about Luka didn't have great defense. The Mavericks as a team don't have great defense. We saw that in the playoffs playing against the Clippers. Like Luka scoring 40 and Kawhi scoring 40 or Paul George getting 35. It's like they don't have that defender. Like this past season, like they starting lineup, like nobody's guarding. No, none of those guys are defenders. So I feel like that should be their main focus is getting defenders right now. So you sign Andre Iguodala and Dwight Howard, I feel like they take care of that instantly. And there's other good free agents they can get out there. Like they might can pick up a JaMychal Green. They might can pick up a Robin Lopez. Robin Lopez will give you some good defense here and there. Maybe even an Avery Bradley, which would still help too, because he a free agent also. But I think there's moves that can be made to improve their defense. I feel like they improve their defense and keep Luka, Tim, and Porzingis. Probably keep Trey Burke, who come off the bench. I feel like they got everything you need at that point. At that point, I feel like they passed Portland and probably passed what's the name? The Suns. I feel like they probably passed the Suns at that point, even though Chris Paul decides to stay. Added Dwight Howard and Andre Iguodala. I just feel like or Avery Bradley, another just a great defending guard, a good defending, rebounding big. Because when Boban is in the game, they don't have rebounding or defense. And the other center was Dwight Powell. Same thing. They don't have rebounding. They don't have defense. And they trying to keep Porzingis in the game. Porzingis don't rebound. Porzingis ain't playing no defense. And then they got Luka. Luka gonna get you a triple-double, so he can use some rebounds because he a big guard, but he ain't playing you no defense. Tim Hardaway Jr. ain't gonna play you no defense. So I just feel like I got the blueprint for them to guard better next year, make them some real championship contenders. So what you think about that one?
Those some solid moves, man. They've been trying to chase a big for years. I don't know how long it's been. Like even since the Dirk years, his last few. I think the last few years of Dirk. That's when it started. They're just like they got to get another big. They've been trying to chase a center for years, man. They've been trying to have that 5-spot field since then. I don't know, for whatever reason, they haven't been able to land them, which is weird. But honestly, what you're basically asking from your bigs is what Porzingis used to be. When he was in New York, he was the 7'3" unicorn because he was able to shoot the ball. He was very smooth with his movements on offense. Defensively, he was all over the court. He could, be in the paint, defending your big, and go out there. If you did pick and roll and switch with the big to a guard, he can hold his own. He won't be out there locking nobody up, but it's hard for you to get around 7'3". That's pretty athletic and mobile. He was blocking shots. He was pretty solid on defense, man. He was a really good defender. So what you're asking of your big is what they'll expect Porzingis to be. And so if Porzingis was himself, you can keep Dwight Powell as your other big. You can keep Bobby as your other big because you have your shot blocker and your rebounder right there. But he's not being himself, which is causing everything else to mess up. So I agree with you when you say that they don't need to make any big shakeups and moves because if he was actually being himself, you have probably 80% of what you need. The last 20% is just defense, like you said. And that'll come on the wing because, like you said, when you have Luka out there scoring 30 or 35 or 40, and you have the two other players on the other side are both wings. Like if they went against the Suns, you would have had Chris Paul scoring 25 and Booker scoring 35. Well, Luka's 30 to 40 getting negated because him and Booker just cancel each other out. You think Tim Hardaway Jr. gonna keep up with Chris Paul giving you on the offensive end? No, he's not. You think they'll be able to keep up with what LeBron's gonna give you between him and AD? Nope, they're not. So it's just like you gotta have something else. You either have to slow down what the other team's gonna give you, or be able to overpower them and overmatch them with what you have. And they're not doing either of those. So Tim Hardaway used to be a decent defender. He wasn't no lock up clamp type of guy, but he was decent enough to where you would respect his defense. So I think you got a solid pickup right there, man. Trying to get Andre Iguodala or at least Avery Bradley. So I agree with that, man. So I don't know how far that puts. I have to look at the rosters and the teams again, but I feel like that puts him probably top 4 in the West. They made those moves. So we'll see, because I think Drummond might be going back to the Lakers too. I don't know where in the world Dwight probably going. I think he ends up in Dallas though, if I had to guess. But we'll see, man. But I agree with your roster moves, man. You did a good job with that GM hat. So
Hey, GM Haskins.
So I'm gonna close this out with this one, man. It's crazy because my team somewhat parallels yours as far as I don't see them making too many big moves. My team be the Brooklyn Nets. Honestly, man, they could have, if they were healthy, they could have sleepwalked their way to first, honestly.
Yeah.
There's not really any big moves to make, man. If they re-sign their players, I just got a notification, I think earlier today or yesterday, they were trying to trade DeAndre Jordan. Depending on what they're doing with that, because I'm not sure, because they have Blake Griffin at their big, Nick Claxton as the other big. I guess trying to make room for him. Yeah, Claxton. I can not get that out. Trying to keep him as the other big. We'll see, man. We'll see. But the biggest thing I think the Nets need is just shooting. Don't know where in the world Joe Harris went last year in the playoffs. That man was a no-show versus the Bucks. I don't know what he was doing, boy, but if he showed up, whole nother series. Like outside of KD and one-legged James Harden, we had nothing else offensively consistent to go to. Like we didn't have any shooting. Shamet gave us nothing, so that's why he barely played. Jeff Green was hurt, that's why he didn't play. I think they'll miss Spencer Dinwiddie too. I think outside of James Harden, they don't really have another playmaker. And I don't know why, but I'm a big fan of teams having at least 2 playmakers, like having your primary playmaker and then having somebody else that can also facilitate him with the ball too. And I feel like Spencer Dinwiddie would have gave that, especially when Harden went down, and Harden probably wouldn't have pressed to come back if Dinwiddie was still there. So I have no clue what they're going to do with that move. I think they're more likely going to trade him or do a sign and trade with Dinwiddie. But they need shooting for sure. They got to get some shooters to help make sure that, because at that point, when we have players like that are kings of the court or one-on-one, all you do is spread the floor for them, bro. That's all you got to do. That's it. So if Joe Harris wake up and get back to his 3-point shooting champion self. They just traded Shamet. I forgot who they got him for. But they need shooting, man. So bring back Jeff Green. Mike James was a solid backup point. See what they do with DeAndre Jordan. Nick Claxton was a solid big. Blake Griffin should come back too. But just need shooting, brother. Honestly, I ain't really got nobody particularly in mind. I wrote down Kent Bazemore. He's a vet. And Ariza. Just because with that team, there's no guarantee you're going to play any minutes. So you need veterans that understand that mindset already, that I might play this game, I might not play this game, but either way, I'm going to be ready. In a playoff series, I might play 25 minutes one series, and I play 15 the next series. Both of them are aware of that. They're comfortable with it. They know what's going on. So I feel like both of those guys would fit, because you might have Jeff Green playing your minutes one game, Next game, Joe Harris playing your minutes in this game. So you have to be comfortable with that. And I think both of those guys are. Defensively, they need something out there on the wing. Both of those guys provide that. But man, on offense, man, just spread the floor for them, bro. That's really all they need. So that was my 2 seconds of what Brooklyn needs to do and stay healthy, man. They need to get a team doctor on there to get them some secret stuff to make sure everybody stay healthy. That's really all they needed for real, man. Like, there's not too much to give them. So that's it.
You don't think they need more defenders? You think shooting is the way to go?
Defense was a problem, but honestly, I feel like we all know Katie's a very good, solid, capable defender. Jeff Green is a really solid defender. DeAndre Jordan, when actually playing, is a good defender. Blake Griffin showed that he can play defense. He can actually play defense because I don't know what that was in Clippers. He was strictly offense back then. Nick Claxton is a really good defender. Like, the only area I see they need defense for sure would be the wings, just because Kyrie, he's a capable defender. He's not a slouch, but at the same time, he's not really locking anybody up consistently. James Harden, same way. Like, he doesn't consistently play defense. He's more of a team defender. He'll lock up one-on-one when he wants to, but as far as actually one-on-one guard somebody, it's not what he's doing consistently. So that's why I said Ken Bazemore and Reeves will be good pickups because they can provide shooting and lock up on the other end when they need to. So that's the only thing that really see, man, a good 3-and-D type of guy that can fit in for him. So that's really it, man. Like, they got other, like Bruce Brown was on their team. He's a decent guy on defensive end. He's really more hustle points and energy, scraping up, extra little rebounds and stuff on the offensive end. But like, and we at the same time, we haven't even seen what they look like together yet, for real. So ain't no telling, man. We got to see. So if I had to pick what they really need to go after, it'll be a 3-and-D guy. Get 1 or 2 of them, but it's pretty much it.
I can see that. Just some 3-and-D. They, like you said, they built the win already. It don't really matter. They got everything they need.
Yeah.
They're like a 3-story house, with a room with a flickering light bulb. It was like, hey, we'll just screw that back in real quick.
Yep. Everybody had them going.
Like,
bro.
some of these teams, like, man, for real. Some of the teams we talking about, like, they like cars with a bad wheel. It's like, man, at any moment it could fall off. That we ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
This team like a doggone limousine. But I enjoyed this, man. I used to be on my league or my GM on 2K back in the day, so I got a little experience trying to make the trades work. My 2K players, they know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoyed this, man. We might have to come back to this in future seasons, or maybe circle back to it when more free agency then went down and talk more about it. But I enjoyed this, my boy.
Yeah, this was nice, man. It's a little different. Probably do around trade deadline, do a couple trades that need to happen and a couple moves we see, but we gotta look into the GM hat again, man. So it's different. It just makes it's interesting to see how both of us see the game too. Like, you looking at it one way, I was looking at it a different way. So it's just different ways how we see the game, man. But same objective, same goal. Yeah, I like this, man. It's a nice episode. So to people listening, y'all better like this, man. But for real, like, we talked about this before, man. Like, most of the other episodes, it didn't take too much work to really prep for it. It's mainly just looking up a couple stats here and there, because we remember pretty much everything else we got to say. It's just our experience and what we know and whatever. But this one actually took some work, man. So yeah, y'all better like this, man. Y'all better sit here and replay this 20 times to see what trades y'all like and don't like. I'm messing with y'all. I'm not messing with you. So yeah. So yeah, man. This is a different episode, man. I feel like it's a good one. So let us know, man. Let us know. Let us know like what we're doing good, what we're doing bad, what you'll see more of, what you want to see less of. Comment which trade was terrible. Let us know if we talked about your team or brought up your player in a trade, whatever. Let us know if you feel like we suck as GMs and we should be fired. That's perfectly fine. I'll take my GM hat off, put my trainer hat back on, and go back to business. You know, it's okay. I'll put it back on whenever we do this episode again, though. So some
Just be
teams,
ready for that.
you know how the NBA is. They don't really fire people. They just cycle them around to another team. That's all that happens.
We out here, like Kendrick Perkins said, we out here trading suits.
That's all they're doing, bro. That's it. But that's it for this episode. Wrapping it up here. Y'all know by now. If you don't, subscribe, like, share the podcast. Follow Nelson. Naylor H34 on Twitter. Nelson Askin on Facebook. Follow me, BeBall Jones, BE Ball Jones. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Share us up. Let us know, man. Appreciate you listening, tuning in. It's episode 24. Kobe, Bean, Bryant, 2-4. That's it.
Let me do the outros for now. I tried to let you have it, but
that was terrible, bro.
Let me handle that one now.
Oh, man.
But we'll see y'all next time. All right, we out.